Next, we have a really special person amongst us, and I'm sure a lot of you have tuned in for his address. It's an absolute honor to have the head of marketing at Google Cloud, Mr. Jaydeep, among us as the chief guest of our ceremony today. Jaydeep heads enterprise marketing at Google Cloud and is responsible to scale Google's cloud marketing organizations in India. To not just help drive business, but also to build organizations and customers that see technology as the central cog of cultural change and success. Prior to Google, he headed marketing for India at Sark and Click. He led their field marketing alliances and partner marketing, PR and AR, business development, and inside sales function, as well as customer advocacy. He was responsible for creating and strengthening the Click brand in the Indian subcontinent and ensuring a solid pipeline. Jaydeep has consistently built world class marketing and alliances capabilities for the organizations that he's worked for while driving business revenue and brand. He's truly a man of multiple accomplishments, and we will today learn a lot from him. So, without any further ado, let me call Mr. Jaydeep. Honored to have you amongst us today.
Thank you. Namaskar. That was a fabulous introduction. Thank you so much. And lovely to listen into Mayank as well. Serendipity rather than, by design, such an important, aspect that he's covered. Once again, thank you to the organizers, UpGrad and MICA, for this opportunity to share my thoughts with the audience here. And I was talking to the organizers earlier. The interesting part about this audience is that most of you, if not all of you, are way more advanced on the aspects of technology and therefore its related aspects to marketing than probably what I was about 21 years back when I started my career. What I'm going to do in the next 5 to 7 minutes is share my experiences, both of my personal and professional journey that has shaped my career and continues to do so. So here goes about my personal life. I was born in a small town in Amaravati. My army background, my father was in the armed forces, frankly has shaped my horizons of the worldview, education, and very important aspect of what I call DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. These are key ingredients, in my opinion, to succeed and more importantly, being a good human being. A value-based upbringing as a defense kid and experiencing diversities of cultures has immensely influenced me. My family is my anchor, and emulating their ideals of giving back to society has steered my career pathway. I'm sure it's the same with all of you. Shifting gears to professional experience. I can tell you this with a lot of confidence that after initial 2 to 3 years, perhaps 5 years, all that the organizations will look at is your ability to deal with challenges, people, and how you are on the barometer of what I call 2H's. Humility, honesty. Talent is important, but these are absolutely critical elements that finally the organizations will look at. This is the generation of technology, not just as part of strategy, but it is the strategy, the core to build an outreach to the audience that one had never seen before. Let me dive a little bit into my views on marketing, both as art and science. It's a canvas that is wanting to get painted. Think of every organization as a different canvas and every marketer as a different creator or painter of that canvas. The key to success is to paint it in such a way that it always is in alignment with the GTM, the go-to market, be it short-term, mid-term, or long-term. As a matter of fact, I'm sure you all would agree, marketers should always hold the long-term vision and goal of the organization in view. That's how brands are built over time and strong. If you witness the journey of an organization right from birth to maturity, organizations are born as generally product or solution led. It's the core product or solution that covers the inherent gap in the market. Then they graduate, grow up to become sales led. You push the product or solution to fulfill that gap or requirement in the market. But the longevity of an organization is determined on the basis of how soon they become marketing led. At this point, there is no push that is needed as such because there's already a pull and interest about the product or solution in the market. From this stage on, along with marketing, the organization constantly needs to innovate to continue to strive and thrive. Now, from a marketing standpoint, couple of more points, be it traditional or digital, we got to continue to support the organization with various aspects of marketing. There are many, be it B2B, B2C, and now even B2B2C. I always live by the funda of remembering that customer is not just the buyer or your immediate contact data point. It is always the buyer, the user, and the chooser. One of the philosophies that I always live by is the journey of continuous learning. It can happen from anyone, it can happen at any place, and it can happen by any means. Along with that, the accompaniment of the continuous journey of unlearning as well. It's extremely critical. So, here are my 3 key takeaways. 1, always keeping purpose at the core. I firmly believe that good leadership is not defined by guiding people towards the pursuit of profits alone. It is equally important to create a mindset of collaboration and making a difference to the society at large. 2, there is no such thing as a Kodak moment. My 2 cents to ensure continued success would be that without foresight and openness to change, people can risk themselves into stagnation and eventually become redundant. Now, as cliche as it might sound, change is the only constant, and therefore, one must revisit their goals of strategy from time to time. And finally, 3rd, how do you become future fit? Choosing an area and learning it from the ground up is one way to start a specialist career. But it is pivotal to explore a variety of things as it leads to self-discovery. To discover who you are, what your strengths are, and weaknesses as well, help you remain relevant with the ever-evolving landscape. Again, and I've taken this from what Mayank said earlier, most things happen by serendipity than design. And you always show up regardless of whatever happens. With that, I would like to thank all of you for listening to me, and I wish you all the best in your future endeavors. Thank you. Back to the organizing team.
Thanks so much, Jaydeep. There was such beautiful insights. And I mean, after listening to that, I'm sure you're expecting tons of questions from our learners, which we do have. So I'd like to ask you a bunch of questions, and I'm going to start with my first one.
Sure.
What do you think is where does like B2B and B2C marketing diverge and converge? What's your opinion on that?
Sure. I'll try and keep it as crisp as possible. It's very similar to what I covered earlier as well. B2B, B2C, and therefore now even B2B2C, all are extremely important. And in marketing, one must remember always that customer is not just the buyer or your immediate contact data point, especially in B2B. It's all these 3 components of customers: buyer, user, and chooser, right?
Yeah.
The second part is that your messages or your messaging needs to be both broad spectrum as well as tailor-made. Broad spectrum messaging will help you cover for scale, whereas tailor-made messaging will be highly focused to that customer segment. And believe me, both are equally critical. That's where divergence and convergence will happen. And it continues to happen.
That's a lovely answer. I have another question from something you said earlier. So you emphasized on being a generalist marketer. What's your advice to new marketers who we have today on defining their career trajectory?
Sure, thank you. That's a great question. Look, in my personal opinion, I think both these are essential components of any marketing organization, be it a generalist marketer or a specialist marketer. My recommendation to everybody would be in the initial part of career, one should start on imbibing a specialist attitude. So focus perhaps on a couple of years on, say, digital marketing, or maybe industry marketing, traditional marketing, maybe public relations, analyst relations. These days, we also have a marketing specializing for the digital native and startup ecosystem. So focus on these areas, maybe for a couple of years, or maybe the first 5, 7, 8 odd years of your life. Thereafter, you steer your career towards a generalist marketer role as you take on additional mandates in your career. As a generalist marketer, you need to be close to specialities of marketing, but also to the GTM, to the businesses, because it's highly collaborative and you've got to be collaborative with the business.
That's lovely. Just sort of picking up from that last question and sort of just drilling down that on that, since we've got so many people who have chosen to upskill and are here for their ceremony, what's your take on skilling for marketers in this evolving era? So, what's coming up next? What's the focus? Where does the focus need to be right now?
See, like you rightly said, it's an ever evolving era, right? My opinion and views would be to focus on 5 key areas from a skilling standpoint. One, always be or have a customer centric approach. Investing time into understanding and streamlining the customer journey is of paramount importance. Two, knowledge of all channels. There is so much that has developed in the entire marketing field. And believe me, marketing cannot be only a siloed approach anymore. You have to gain skills that are in conjunction with various aspects of business: technology, business, sales, resales. Everything is important. So please understand that gaining knowledge of all channels of marketing in conjunction with these areas is extremely critical. Third, always think like a techie today. Everybody is a technology, geek. You have
Yes.
to think like one. And when you combine and marry marketing by being also a tech focused persona, believe me, you will end up creating something which is extremely beautiful and easily understood by the audience that you're trying to reach out to. Because your audience understands technology very, very well. Fourth, always love your sales teams. They are extremely important and key stakeholders for the growth of an organization. And finally, fifth point, always keep developing yourselves. And like I said earlier, developing is learning as well as unlearning.
Yeah.
I hope that makes sense.
No, no, it made a lot of sense. I mean, I was just, while you were saying it, I just remember us discussing this as a team as well. So I was just like reminiscing that. I have one last question for you. It's from Trishani
Sure.
Bhattacharya. She'd like to know how to get over the feeling of not being enough at times. It could be in a professional aspect, it can be a personal aspect. And I think this is something that all of us struggle with every day, right? I mean, there are moments where you feel like I could have done better, or maybe I'm not doing enough. So, how do you deal with that?
Great question. Ishani, right?
Trishani
Prashant,
Bhattacharya.
Prashani, believe me, after 21 years of experience and doing marketing for almost about 20 years of that, I still face that. And what I've started doing is prioritizing stuff. Always prioritize. Start saying no. Saying no to people is equally important than saying yes, by the way. So once you prioritize, once you start saying no, and then focus on key aspects that will ensure longevity of marketing and growth of an organization, will always help you in solving for this.
That's amazing. That's lovely. Thank you so much for this. And we have a lot more questions coming in, but I feel like we will not be able to answer all of them. I would like to take up one more from Omkar
Yeah,
because
I can take one more
seems
question.
yeah, he
I
seems
would
very
otherwise request
enthusiastic.
everybody to reach out to me on LinkedIn, and I'll be
Yeah.
happy to answer their questions. But one more, yes.
Yeah. So Omkar is asking, what are the essential skills to be a good marketer? While you've covered that, what do you think are the essential skills to be an entrepreneur?
Right. So believe me, marketers always think like entrepreneurs, right? You're always thinking about what next. Generally, if you look at any organization, when there is sales, there's marketing, there is technology, etc., everybody needs to look at, generally from a business standpoint, short term and mid term view. Marketers think long term view predominantly. And that's how entrepreneurs also think, right? Scale happens there. And I think if you are keeping in mind where you want to reach from 6 months horizon to 2 months horizon and 5 months, 2 years horizon and 5 years horizon, you'll always kind of know what you want to do and what you want to achieve. So entrepreneurs, marketers, they think alike, yes, and both are equally important part of the ecosystem, by the way.
No, definitely, definitely. Thank you for such lovely and concise answers, Jaideep. It was absolutely lovely to have you today. And I mean, there's a lot of love being showered in the comment section. I wish you can just go back and read how much love our learners are showing. All 530 of them that have joined in today, and more were joining in as we speak, right? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And it was lovely to have you.